Hello. Yep, I'm back again. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We need 1,000 subscribers. It will make this work very, very interesting. Anyway, today we have faced AC Milan and we have defeated them 4-1 just after defeating Bayer Leverkusen 2-0. Today I want to take, whenever I do lives, I usually want to take it category like steady. Steady is the right name. So steady. So it will not be up and down, up and down, up and down. Because I need to cover a lot of things very, very honestly. And from the title, the title is a little clickbait, but it's just, are we overrating this Chelsea team? I've said that if you have been on my, if you have seen my videos, if you have been on my live, I've said that in the previous season, it was just we would have won the league or probably just given a little competition to Liverpool. It will not be, the gap will not be that huge if we had the same mentality that we displayed during the Club World Cup, or the same mentality that we now kind of have. Like the difference between Liverpool and us was just the mentality. But right now, even as I was watching this game against AC Milan, to some extent I thought like this is like really a friendly. Even with Bayer Leverkusen and in previous years, friendlies were a little competitive. Like people are pushing each other, people are trying to win, people are trying to score. But today I've seen a game where nobody was really struggling. And the fact that we won that game 4-1, it just shows that we are good. And given that AC Milan, during the start of the friendly, they beat Liverpool 4-2. They were beaten with Arsenal 1-0, but it was a game of 50-50. They only got one chance with Saka. And in this game, I expected that this should be the scale. Like if you are a team of that caliber, because everybody was complaining with Bayer Leverkusen. They were saying that Leverkusen have not faced a big opponent. So it wasn't a game where you really want to see if you are good or bad, because uh, they haven't have, like they're not offering that scale. Like you can't compare with, okay, we have beat Leverkusen, but which other team beat Leverkusen? It was just, but with AC Milan, it's a good club. They have done well. They have beat Liverpool. They have done, they have offered like competition to Arsenal in the last game. And you expected that with this game, we are going to face them. There will be a very, good challenge. But then we started scoring two in the first like 10 minutes, and then just after that, it was a little 10 minutes until they got the red. Then after the red, everybody just like for the rest of first half and even at the beginning of second half, it was just like strolling on the pitch. Like it felt like very friendly. Like to some extent, I felt we might be having the same mentality problem, because after watching a lot of teams previously, you watch Man City, you watch uh, Bayern, you watch Liverpool to some extent. If they're going to beat you five, they'll just beat you five. They'll not have mercy on you. It will not reach a point in the game where you'll feel like, okay, Man City have taken the foot off the no, it will not reach a time where you'll feel Man City have taken the foot off the pedal. It will be just scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring. They'll just push that way to the end. Just like Kelvin saying you're overrating it. I know it's just feelings. I don't think this is the point where a Man United fan is coming to rate us. This is just for very, very honestly, Chelsea fans like to give their own opinion. With Man United, Arsenal, and all the other fans, if you see their comments, they are not doing it honestly. Now, I was talking about all these other teams, be it Man City, be it Bayern. If they are going to crush you, they'll crush you. And I expected with this game, after scoring two in the first 10 minutes, like we were going to score even more and more and more and more. Like it will not stop from there. Like it will not reach a point where people are just strolling. Like people are just, playing like it's very friendly. Because if they do that in this game, then it means they'll only be playing with that vigor, with that energy whenever they feel this is an important game. Whenever they feel like this is not an important game, they'll not be giving the same effort. So we'll reach a point where we are facing Liverpool and we feel like we have to show we are good, or we have the same talent, the same capability as Liverpool. So we fight with them and probably defeat them. But then when we get to Leeds, the players feel like, this is a stroll in the park, it's easy. And that's when we lose a game. And it has happened in previous games, especially during Sari. Like they'll be passing, they'll be passing, they'll be passing. Whenever they get like 75 possession, and then just people just log out of the game. Like you see the keeper just doing a lot of shenanigans at the back, and which sometimes usually ended up with losses. I think if you are going for the league this time, that should not happen. But even with this game, apart from that mentality thing, I think we still have certain problem, because in my previous video when I was talking about the defending issues, I thought that internally, like even with Colwill injury, we still have Chaloba, we still have Tosin, we still have Achampong, we still have, like, those are the guys who can be given a chance and they'll just offer the same thing. But today, I think it's not confirmed, but Chaloba has an injury. I don't know how long it will be. Now, if you remove Chaloba, and we also know that Fofana is injury prone, so he will not be playing a lot of games. And even if he plays, somehow you expect that during the season he might miss a couple of games. Now, our only options will be a Champong and Tosin. And if we are going a season with just those two, I don't think we can depend on those two like to win us the league. Because first, and this is the thing with Chelsea. Like sometimes we all have solutions within the squad, but we just need new new people. Like sometimes you are just buying, you are just buying, you are just buying. And some of the teams have shown that trusting on even academy players usually gives a lot of returns. We have seen Barcelona giving people like Araujo, giving people like Lamine Yamal, giving people like 17-year-old Pedri, Gavi, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, just the responsibility, like just trusting on them. And after seeing a Champong in these two games and some of the games last season, I just feel like he is like he's better than some of the defenders that we have in the team, and not just those defenders that we have in the team. Even if you compare him to some of the defenders in the league, you'll come to discover that he's so settled. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Like if we can depend on him, if we can give him the responsibility the way Barcelona usually does with their youngsters, the way, like somebody like Hudson, like for some instance, last year, people were thinking that this is a young defender, like he's just young. You can't just depend on a young defender. But he proved to be among the best CBs in Premier League last season. If you are going to rate the defenders last season, he will be in the top three of most people who are watching a lot of games. Meaning, it doesn't matter with age. Like if somebody is playing so well, you can put him there. And I think even for us, Achampong is going to be one of the best defenders in Chelsea and in Premier League. But even with him and Tosin, we still, I think sometimes when, if you, I hadn't considered, but I think if any one of them, either Tosin, either Chaloba, either Achampong, gets an injury, you'll only have two dependable defenders, because you can't depend on who's this other guy, Anselmino. You can't depend on the France dude, Badiashile. You can't depend on those. So to some extent, I feel, I will not say it's a bad if we don't get another CB, but if it's confirmed that Chaloba has an injury that will take probably more than a month, then we probably need another CB. Now, that's about that game. But then the other thing, and which again is about this topic, is that to some extent our fans are usually a little, you will say, overzealous, or they want to comment on things as they happen. Like last week, and even during the Club World Cup, like Delap came, played a single game, and he was rated so highly. They said he's better than Jackson. He can do a lot of things that Jackson cannot do. And then 2 games, 3 games after that, when he stopped scoring, and people are like, you know what? Probably is not the guy you are waiting for. Like, we need, another strike. And then they brought the other strike, and the other striker, Pedro, started scoring. And you are like, probably we don't need Delap. And even with, because he started with that game against Leverkusen, and he did not score for like 70 minutes. He was running, he was doing a lot of good things, but he did not score. And people also criticized him a lot. Like, people are like really saying that he's not better than Jackson. And to some extent, it has moved from Delap, because this week he scored two to Gittens. Now, last week, people were praising, not even last week, it was Thursday, people were praising Gittens for all the one-on-ones he was doing, and cruising through defenders, cruising through that left back, and making all those chances, creating all those chances, and the 45s and the crosses, and just passing people. And today, he did the same for a couple of minutes. It wasn't even minutes, like he did a lot. But to some extent, he started losing possession, or he would run and run off the field, or people started marking him. And to some extent, again, fans now are criticizing him, saying that, you know what, probably is not an improvement from Madueke. Now we have two signings who, before the friendly started, it was an improvement on Jackson, and it was an improvement from Madueke. Then after two friendlies, everybody's claiming that, you know what, we should have Madueke, we should have Jackson back, because there's no any improvement. And I think that's the problem of having an option of getting new people. And I'm so sure, even if we start getting if we buy, or if we bring another defender, some people will start saying, we'll now start seeing a lot of errors from Chaloba, a lot of errors from Tosin, a lot of errors from Machiampong. It will be like, because we need the new guy to play. And when the new guy messes, now we go back to the old guy. It has happened so many times. Even last season, it was like, bring in Kunku. Kunku is not doing this thing. Bring in another guy. This one is not doing this guy. Bring in another guy. Oh, all these three are not doing this thing that we want. Now, go to the market and buy. But I think, even if you go to the left wing, there are no any better left wing in the market than the people we are getting. Especially, sometimes we usually go with what the coach wants. because over time, after seeing a lot of games, you usually develop this mentality that as a fan, you know where the problem is, you know how to solve it, you can do it, and you think you are better than the coach. But the thing is, you don't even know what the coach wants. You don't even know, like, the coach's plan. Now, after seeing AC Milan, the game against AC Milan, you start noticing what the coach wanted from his wingers, because all of them were playing the same way. Like if Pedro got the ball, Pedro Neto at first, he got the ball, he will just run over, try to, like, run to the wing, to the flank, try to use that channel and then bring the ball in. It was the same for Gittens. Even when Estevao came, he was doing the same. Even when George came, he was doing the same. And you feel like the coach, probably because if you have four wingers in the same game doing the same thing, it comes, you will know it was like tactics, like it was the coach telling them, you do this, you do this. So if the coach has instructed the players to do something, you cannot be better than the coach. You cannot now start saying that, you know what, this play is wrong. If the tactics are not working, you should at the minimum blame the coach, not the player. You can only blame the player whenever he moves away from what the coach has told him. And this is why after every match, there's always a post conference, and before every match, there's always a pre conference, because sometimes you get to hear what the coach thought, what he thought was wrong, because sometimes you go into the game and you see, like, okay, this is what is wrong, but then that's not what the coach wanted, or that is not what the coach was looking for. So, especially in a game like this one, which is a friendly, sometimes you go into this game and then you are looking at the striker or the winger doing certain things, and you're like, you want to criticize him on the same thing. You want to criticize him, you want to tell him, like, hold the ball, pass it back, do whatever everybody is doing. But that's not what they wanted, because, again, last season we were having a lot of trouble, especially with teams that had a low block. Sometimes we used to depend on Palmer so much to, like, create a chance. Whenever we had a team that had that low block, it was so hard to go through it. Now, it doesn't make any sense whenever we get a winger who can pass through people, who can get a penalty, who can get fouled in those positions. And the coach is trying to instill this into the players. And the players are trying to do it. They're trying to perfect that thing of passing through people, of trying to get a penalty, of trying to get a foul on those areas, on trying to create a chance on that area. You cannot go out and start criticizing them for the same thing, for the same solution that they are trying to perfect. That should not happen. So I think our team, as much as it has certain areas where we can improve, I think even as it is right now, I think we have the best team. You have the best team in Premier League. And you have seen Liverpool struggling with Crystal Palace in the Community Shield. It wasn't like they were not trying to win that game. They were trying to win that game, but it was just hard. And you see, whatever they're doing, you see there are errors in the defense. You see the errors that Arsenal are making in the defense. You see the errors that Man United are making in the defense. If you compare it to the errors that we are making, you will start noticing. You'll, like, if you have seen all these games and all these opponents, you'll note that we have a very good squad. And it's not just every area, especially the defense, especially from just the CDM back. And that's the reason why we have had a lot of clean sheets. Even today, at some point, we had errors, and that's what led to the AC Milan goal. because at some point I think it was just a loss of concentration, which I say is a problem of mentality. Like if you are telling people like this is an important game, I'm sure those errors will not be met. Like when they let these two guys like have a two versus one with the keeper, and it was only saved by Reece James. Like those things, would I don't think would happen in a game where you're telling people like, you know what, you need to concentrate from minute 1 to minute 90. And I think that's the only problem that we have right now. But apart from that, I think our team is very stacked. Now, going to what would be our best lineup, because next season we have finished all the friendlies. We had only two friendlies and the Club World Cup. So the next game is Crystal Palace, and it's going to be hard. Now, from the friendlies I've seen, from the people who have bought, if you're asking me what will be the best lineup for us, I'm sure Sanchez will always start in the goal. Then you'll have James, you'll have Cucurella on both sides, left back, right back. And as I've said, in centre back, our options are Chaloba, Tosin, and Champong. Chaloba came out with an injury. I'm not sure how long will it be. I haven't seen any news after the game. I'll check. I'll check and then talk about it in the next video. But having seen Champong in the last two games, I think he should be among those two. He should be among those two CBs. Like he's chilled, and whenever it is necessary, he's very aggressive. But the good thing about him is that he makes a lot of good decisions. Like sometimes you want people just to step to the striker when they have to step to the striker. Sometimes a lot of people usually dilly-dally, a lot of defenders. They are trying to play that Van Dyke game of just going back, going back, going back until they give the striker a lot of space to shoot or to pass. Now with Achampong, sometimes it's very aggressive, like he will follow a guy to the mid. I have seen a couple of games against even Leverkusen, and not just these friendlies. I think in the last cup conference league, he was following strikers. Like you get the ball is there, you try to pass back, is following you. Now you need sometimes that thing, like just aggressive. You have an aggressive CDM in Caicedo, you have aggressive CBs, but an aggressive that doesn't cause, unnecessary tackles, like the tackles that Disasi had. Like if you had a defender who was aggressive but always cause a lot of trouble was Disasi, because he will always foul people. Whenever he's going to a person, he's going to tackle. Now, with the Champong is not tackling. I don't think I've seen him tackle a lot. It's just pushing on defenders, on strikers, which is so good. But then you need some experience. If you're going to have a Champong, I think probably you'll have Tosin. But then Tosin sometimes usually, if Chaloba is injured, you should have Tosin. If Chaloba is not injured, you should have Chaloba. So our best CB should be Chaloba and Champong. But when Fofana comes back, then it will be a Fofana Champong, and then you'll know if it's either James playing on the right CB or it's Cucurella playing on the left CB, and James trying to, you know, try to attack. And then at the center, like zero changes, not a lot of changes, because these are the people we have depended on in the last cup, in the Club World Cup, in the last Premier League campaign, And right now, I think we'll still have Caicedo and Enzo. But right now, we also have options. Esugo can come for Caicedo and he will play just as similar. He will just give the same vigor, the same tackling, the same. He's not better than Caicedo, but there's no a huge difference in quality. And then you have Santos again. He's not better than Enzo, but sometimes he does a lot of things. Like today, when he made that assist to Delap, like he sees the game differently from this other guy. Sometimes he plays like he's he's a six, a deploying playmaker. But then he does whatever Enzo does. But I don't think he's going to give the same as Enzo. So again, we'll have Caicedo and Enzo as our starting CMs. Is it CM, CDM, CM, and then Palma, obviously. And then this is where a lot of people have been arguing whether you think Estevao should be in front of Pedro Neto. And I think yes, Estevao currently, despite despite his age, despite his experience, I think he offers more. In the last two games, he has caused two penalties. He has scored and he just runs. He just runs on defenders. He crosses whenever it's possible and he's just forward thinking. And sometimes, especially on low blocks, because people can be, you know, how Premier League sometimes it's just people, you know, staying whenever they want to stay. So if you don't have a tricky person that is very quick and reads the game and just does things that are out of this world. And I think Estevao will, if he's not scoring, is causing a lot of fouls and a lot of penalties. And if he's not doing that, he's just creating a lot of chances in front, he's making a lot of crosses, he's doing a lot of stuff. So he should be fast. He should be fast on the wingers. If he's playing on the right wing, and he can also move through, he can play on the left wing, can play on CM, he can play on right wing. But I think, and then we'll have Gittens, and again, Pedro usually sometimes play on the left wing. If you are going to consider Gittens and Pedro, I think Gittens usually does a lot of, you know, trickery, one-on-one. He's so good at running. He's very, very rapid. He's quick. He's very, very quick. Like you can tell, you can see whenever he goes past a defender, he's just so quick. He's so rapid. Like nobody ever comes from behind to tackle him. Now, if you get somebody like that, it will work. But I don't think it will work on every other team. Like if you have a team where people are defending and then you have two guys always marking the flanks, it will be so hard for him, especially if he's trying to, you know, dribble his way through those defenders. He might lose a lot of ball. Now, if you want, if if you are prepared for that, it will be so good. But if you are not prepared for counters, I think sometimes you have to consider Pedro. So if I'm going to go with my best lineup, it'll be Sanchez, James, Cucurella, Chaloba, Achampong, Caicedo, Enzo Palma, Estevao, Pedro, and then and Neto on the on the left wing. Pedro has to play. Then we have every person has a sub. Delap, Gittens. Do you have another left wing? We were supposed to buy, but we didn't buy. Like that Xavi thing, just we are waiting. We have waited for so long for Xavi Simon until it's over. Then Santos says who go. Then you have also Jorel Hato, you have Anselmino, you have Malogusto, and you have Jorgensen. Like two good teams. Even if you take our second team and just put it in Premier League, it will come above Man United, above position 6. Yeah, that is it for me. Anyway, Let's meet tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to talk a lot about. Tomorrow I'll make a video about which transfers we should expect to. No, the people that we are selling. No, we have sold a lot of people that sometimes you don't know if. Let me check. Let me check. Yeah, there are a lot of people who have gone out of the club that we need to see and evaluate and analyze if it was a good decision or not. Even us letting go of Nkunku, of course we haven't already, but he will go. Jackson, who's the other guy we are waiting on? Encoding overloaded. Consider turning down. Okay, now I think our thing is not even working. Anyway, subscribe and support the channel. Support the channel. Subscribe, share, like whenever we come through. Whenever we upload a video, you'll always show some love. Anyway, good night and good week. And thank you for everybody who has tuned in. Thank you for everybody who has commented, liked, subscribed. And let's meet tomorrow.